Welcome to How Preschool Teachers Do It.
This is Allison Kentos. I am an early childhood educator.
And this is Cindy Tarabush. I am an early childhood consultant.
This podcast is for parents and early childhood professionals.
Let our experience and research-based knowledge become your guide. Hi, welcome back to the podcast. Allison and I are recording today's episode at a time when there's a lot of people in shopping malls, right, Allison?
Yes, it is.
Also, supermarkets. I was in the supermarket today. I couldn't even get up and down the aisles. It was just bad.
I was there yesterday.
So we thought it would be a good idea to have this episode talk about strangers, something that we can talk about all year long. We just happen to encounter a lot of strangers today. And children get mixed messages about strangers, don't they?
They do. Because I don't know about you, but I talk to pretty much everybody I encounter. I'm pretty friendly. And then we go and we tell kids, don't talk to strangers. But yet here I am talking to the person online behind me who's a stranger, the cashier, the bus driver, the mechanic. I talk to everybody. Okay.
Apparently you do. You're like my husband. My husband is a talk to everybody.
Yeah.
My husband will strike up a conversation with anybody. And I'm sort of like, no. And maybe it's because I talk for a living. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm all talked out.
Yeah, no, I'm just, I don't know. I take walks with my dog. I say hi to people. And then, I don't know, maybe it's my mood sometimes. Sometimes I'm like, I don't feel like talking. But for the most part, if people say hi to me, I say hi back to them. So if I had a kid with me and I said, oh, no, you can't talk to strangers, but here I am talking to everybody, It kind of is like, I'm not modeling the right behavior. So instead
But you are.
But I am because
I want to be polite. I'm going to, it's terrible to treat like your waiter or your cashier or your waitress or like anybody in a position of serving you as if they're not standing there. They shouldn't be invisible. We should be smiling and saying hello and making them know that they are also, we see them as people and they are seen. But again, it sends a really weird message to kids, I think.
Right.
Like they can't talk to strangers, we can.
Right.
And I don't know if we address it really well with them.
So I think instead of what we learned when we were kids, which was don't talk to strangers, it was like that blanket statement, don't talk to strangers. Like it was, it needs to not be that statement anymore. It needs to be, yes, you should talk to people, but you don't get in a car with them. You don't go with them. You don't do things with them, but you are to be polite to them. You are to be respectful of them. You know what I mean?
So where do you think, you draw the polite line with young children? I mean, they're kind of witnessing all this. What is, I think if I'm talking to a cashier, for example, that you actually do need to turn to your young child afterward and say, I spoke to her because she was helping us to pay for the food or to pay for the things we're buying, whatever it is you're buying. She was helping us pay for that. And so we're going to be polite and talk to her, but I would never take anything from her other than my change or my groceries. I would definitely not take food from this person, right? Like, I think we need to be specific. I would not go anywhere with this person.
With her, I wouldn't go with her. I wouldn't take things from her.
Right. I wouldn't get in her car. I wouldn't go anywhere with her. I think we need to define it, and we've never done that, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
It's hard.
I wouldn't think about even so this, I know that this is going to be released on the podcast after this season, but it still applies. Think about it. I was in a mall recently and kids were taking photos with Santa.
Yes.
And I have nothing against that. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think it's adorable and I stand and I watch them and stuff. I was in the mall yesterday with my husband. I asked him if he wanted a picture with Santa, but he declined. I think that, we also need to kind of, I don't know. I mean, what do you think? The Santa thing, does anything need to be said or we just roll with it because kids are familiar with Santa and the message of Santa?
Yeah, but here's the thing with Santa. Okay. Things when we were kids, it was a little bit different than now, I feel. Even though it really wasn't. I don't know. kids feel like they know Santa.
They do.
Okay? Santa is not like a stranger to them.
Right.
And here you are as a parent saying, go ahead and sit on Santa's lap. Okay?
And when you say it that way, it's a little cringy.
It's a little weird. It's very weird.
It's a little cringy. Don't do
it's a little like I did it when I was a kid. I mean, I had my picture taken with Santa all the way up until I was a certain age, and I didn't think anything of it, and neither did my parents. But now I look at it, I'm like, wait a minute, like, how weird is that? Your mom, your parents are like, yeah, go ahead and sit on that stranger's lap. It's okay.
Okay, but they're right there. Like,
I know.
If you were a parent, you would be right there.
But say Santa later on, a kid sees Santa, and mom said it was okay to sit on his lap.
Oh, so here's how you define it then. You tell your child, we're going to go and take pictures with Santa, and it's going to be so much fun, and we only do that when mommy and daddy are with you.
Right.
Or mommy, or whoever. I don't care. You only do that when someone from our family is with you, because maybe grandma, grandpa's bringing them. Maybe, we don't know. Right. So maybe we do need to say to kids, we're going to go and you're going to get to talk to Santa and tell Santa what you want, or the Easter Bunny, or whoever it is, all these people who you take kids to the mall to pose with. And we only do that when we're with family.
Right.
And that's a totally legitimate way to still have this fun thing that's a tradition.
Right, because I think kids should have their pictures taken with Santa. It is this fun little tradition thing. I had my dog take his picture with Santa. He had his picture taken with Santa this morning, but like, it is this weird thing. Like, what are kids thinking when, what I mean? In the mind of a kid, like, what are they thinking? So, like, you don't want them to think like, oh, here's another, because anybody
it could be a bad Santa. It could be like
anybody could dress.
Anybody can dress as Santa.
I
could dress as Santa.
Yeah,
so, I think we do need to narrate these parts of our lives a little bit, right?
Yeah.
I think about when I speak to wait staff, when I speak to cashiers. Who else do we talk to in front of kids? Like in a classroom, if someone comes to the school, even to tour the school, right? We're standing there talking to strangers. And when I was teaching, I used to tell the kids, if somebody walked in the room, I used to turn to the kids and say, it's okay, I know this person.
Yeah.
Or this is my friend, or whatever. I would say, depending on how old they were, this is my friend. It's okay that I talk to her or him.
It is funny because a lot of times, like at my school, when somebody comes in, like one time I had the tech guy or the maintenance guy, they come in. And the kids will sometimes look at me like, I don't know that person. And they look at me, and I'm like, it's okay. That's Mr. Tyler. He's just here to fix something. It's okay. But if it was somebody else, they still look at me like, and then I would say, oh, but they usually, it's funny. They do take their cues from me because they'll look at me like, why is this guy sitting here touching your computer? It's okay. That's just Mr. And they do, because they're like, who is this guy?
Who is that?
Because other people they know, like if, the principal comes in or the superintendent comes in, they're like, oh, yeah, they know him. But certain people they don't know, like people that rarely would come in, they look at me like, who is this strange guy coming in? I don't know him. But at least I'd rather them have that reaction than go up to the person and be like, hey, I'd rather them be a little like, hey,
I'd rather them stand back a little bit. But there's always those kids who run up to every stranger and start talking.
Yeah, I know.
And I've had families come to me when I work with kids and say, what do I do? Like, I can't seem to get the message across to my child that you don't just run up to every stranger and talk to them. So have you had that happen? Have you had parents or family members tell you that about their child?
No, but I know that if I ever had a kid, that'd be my kid, because look at me. I mean,
it would be your kid. Wouldn't so much be my kid. Would be my husband's kid. I'm trying to think about what I have said. If you are someone who's listening to the podcast and you have a child who tends to run up to every stranger, I think that is of concern. I think that you need to have conversations with your child where you explain this isn't someone that mommy and daddy know, or grandma and grandpa know, or whoever it is, aunt and uncle, whoever you're with. This isn't somebody that we know, so we're gonna.
You need to ask before you go up to anybody.
You ask me, right? Ask me if you can talk to this person. Yeah, maybe. But then you on the other hand, I'm gonna go on the other hand. I remember when my kids were really little, and they would be in the stroller and they would do something cute and a stranger like standing in line would turn around and start talking to them.
Right.
Because they thought it was really cute. They'd be like, oh, aren't you so cute? What do you have? What are you holding? Oh, you're waiting so nice for mommy, or whatever they would say to them.
Yeah. And it's an innocent little thing, you think. I mean,
it's an innocent, it's an innocent little thing. But like, I think the hard part is then and then as a parent, you, of course, your instinct is to say to your child, be polite and answer her, the lady, right? Be polite and talk to them. But then I've also told you not to talk to strangers. Strangers is such a hard thing.
Right. It's almost like be polite and answer her, but don't trust her. Because that's how I kind of am. I talk to people, but I don't trust anybody.
Oh, how do you teach
I know. I'll be friendly to anybody on the street. I don't care. But I don't trust you. Okay?
Right.
I certainly do not trust you. Like, I'll talk to you. Yeah, that's fine. But I don't trust you. But I'm an adult and I know that kids don't. They're just like, oh, da, 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 da. Like they just think everybody's being friendly to them a lot of times. So
sometimes, yeah. And I think that we have to be really, really, really careful to teach children, like we said before, maybe in that same case, like if a stranger is talking to your adorable child in line or something, that the child should look to you for the clue as to whether to respond. Maybe that's the key. I think we found it, Allison. The key is, ready? Look, we're like coming up with epiphanies right on the podcast. Like, look how these things happen. I think that we need to like look at children and say, whenever a stranger talks to you, look at me and I will let you know if it's okay to answer.
Yeah.
How about that? That's great.
That's a good one. Yeah.
I like that.
Always take the cue from me.
Always take the cue from me. I really like that. So at what age do you think? You work with really young kids. Can you tell everybody how old the kids are that you work with?
They're 2, turning 3. So most of them are still 2. I have 3 3-year-olds and the rest are 2 and won't be 2.
So how would it go with the majority of your 2-year-olds if you said, if anybody talks to you, make sure you check with me to see if you can answer?
Most of them would probably do that, I would say. Most of them kind of do that now, especially the older ones. The older ones already look at me, they're like, who is this? Like, why is this person in here? This is my room. Like they're like, well, and some of the younger ones, like the really young ones that just turned 2, I think they're still a little like, I don't think they really know. But I think if you started having that conversation with them now, especially now, age 2, they're really starting to talk. If you started it early, I think the earlier you start that conversation, the better. Because then by the time they get to be older, they'll be like, oh, okay. It's just normal to look to mommy and daddy,
Or whoever their trusted adult is.
Their trusted adult
I don't want to
is.
limit it to like mommy and daddy. Because what if they're out with somebody else?
What if they're out with grandma and grandpa or a babysitter? Whoever it is.
Right, the babysitter, the nanny, like whoever.
Yeah, whoever it is. You always look for the adult. For the cue of whether this is a safe person to talk to or not,
Right. So,
but started early.
So we've done it, right? We've solved, now while we're recording, we've solved the problem. We've solved the mystery of what to do about the mixed messages about strangers. We teach our children that they need to look to us to know if it's okay to talk to a stranger. And we need to explain to them over and over and over again that while we're being polite and nice by talking to them and we're being kind, we would never take candy from them. We would never take food to eat from them. We would never get in a car with them. We wouldn't leave the building with them, right? You stay with your trusted adults. And I think that that's something that we sometimes assume children are going to figure out, but we need to say out loud. So hopefully everybody got that as we brainstormed during this recording. That's how you know, right? It's like
there's a difference between being friendly and trust.
Right. Difference between being friendly and trust. And you can figure out trust by looking to me, your trusted adult.
Right.
So I like that. We're gonna stick with that, and we're gonna encourage the people who are listening to us right now to email us topics and questions they would like for us to address on a future episode of this podcast, because we would love to do that. So email those to me, to Cindy, CINDY, at helpingkidsachieve.com. You can also find me through my website, which is helpingkidsachieve.com, and Allison and I will go through your emails. We're also telling everybody to please rate our podcast on whatever you're listening to it on. Give us a 5. We're going to just put that right out there. How much do we want, Allison? How many stars do we want?
We want a 5
We
star.
want a 5. We want a 5. And if you don't, I don't know.
Yeah,
We'll be sad.
We'll
be sad. And please do comment. It would be great. It would help us out if you would put comments. We know people are listening, and then we don't get any comments.
Yeah.
So we would love to know what meant something to you and what you think of the podcast. And we will be back with another episode in a couple of weeks. We record them, and then we release them every other Monday. So catch you then.